They will have to start from the pit lane because, as you can see, the cars are in their place. We'll get a red light in the upper left-hand corner, and now they let him leave. They let Mansell leave the pits, and there goes Nannini. Now we've got a problem, but they're waving the green flag. Are they going to start the Grand Prix with 2 cars on the race course? I can't believe it. They are. We've got a red light somewhere out there on the race course as you watch Alain Prost pull away. There you see your leader, Alain Prost, beats his teammate Ayrton Senna in the first turn, and now we've got all kinds of cars piling up. It looked like one of the Ferraris got a little bit sideways there as the drivers struggle with traction on a rapidly drying but still quite damp racetrack. And somewhere out in front of them, Nigel Mansell, who was supposed to start in the 5th position, and Sandro Nannini, who was supposed to start 13th. I can't believe they released him from the pit lane.
Well, they're certainly going to be checking the rule books on that one. The pit lane has been closed, actually, officially for the last 15 minutes. And how they ever let him through. And if it is wrong, the Quebec organizers here will be heavily fined for that mistake.
Now here you see Nannini being overtaken by the race leader, and I don't know how they're going to score this one.
Well, Nannini has to be a brave man out there on the racing slicks because there still are puddles, and it only takes a few millimeters of water to make that car absolutely lift up. And here comes Senna sliding by, not sliding by, powering by his teammate. It almost looked like Prost had a problem. He does. He's going into the pits. Maybe not a problem, but just for a tire change. We'll see.
The pit entry is on one of the most terrifying turns in all of Formula One. There you see Alain Prost pulling into the McLaren pits for his change to slick tires. And they finished 1-2 here a year ago in Canada, but will not happen this year. Alain Prost has already retired his McLaren with suspension damage, as you heard. Meanwhile, you're looking at your leader, Riccardo Patrese, and as you recall, he led earlier this year in Rio. He has 2 Formula One victories to his credit, despite having competed in 180-plus Formula One events. The all-time Methuselah among Formula One drivers is Riccardo Patrese. Garrett getting a lot better as time goes by. You saw them trying to pick up the Martini wreck as the race continues. A quick look at the tail of your leader, excuse me, not your leader at this point, Ayrton Senna running in 3rd position. Things are really getting hectic out of here with all of the pit stops that we've had and the on and off rain conditions. It is not raining at present here in Canada. Now there's Terry Boutsen in the pits, meaning Riccardo Patrese has nobody between himself and Ayrton Senna coming up now, inheriting 2nd position. Terry Boutsen quickly flips that Williams with Renault V10 power back onto the pit lane and onto the racetrack. There is Senna making his way around in search of the leader, Riccardo Patrese.
And the second he left the pits, it started to downpour again.
Now let's keep an eye on this guy for a while. Ayrton Senna is on slick tires, and as we said, it is raining on the front portion of this racetrack where he is about to go right now. The acknowledged Rainmaster in Formula One, who won his first victory at Portugal in 1985 in a downpour. He won races last year, the British Grand Prix, you'll remember, under monsoon conditions at Silverstone. Hockenheim a couple of weeks later, also run in the rain, and then clinched his first world championship on a dampening track in Japan.
Even to go on with that story, that's when the points for that win of Alain Prost were reduced to half points rather than full points, which really cost him the world championship against Nicky Lauda.
He lost it by a half point. As you watch Ayrton Senna and the little vortexes off the top of the wing where it says Marlboro in the back, as the air is compressed over that wing, it squeezes out the moisture, and we see it in the form of a little cloud. This is your leader, Riccardo Patrese, and we got a brief glimpse of the McLaren Honda behind them. Ayrton Senna running in 2nd position and doing so very quietly at this point. Your leader, Patrese, is on the wet rain tires, and it is still raining here. This man, on the other hand, I believe is on slick tires. And so it is a real demonstration of driving skill for Ayrton Senna to stay in contact with the leader, Patrese, who has the wets.
You can see around that corner, Bob, just physically how much slower Senna was. I don't know how far back Ford is in 3rd place, but man, Senna has to be in absolute misery out here at this point. They brought him in early. They thought they were going ahead and have the advantage by switching to these absolutely treadless and somewhat less sticky. As you said at the top of the show, the McLarens are not invincible, and especially in a dice roll situation with this weather, they may have chosen the wrong tire or the wrong time to change the tire. Corner around the circuit to go ahead and just pick the cars up and put them down and out of harm's way. Ayrton Senna making it very wide on that particular corner. Again, he's got to be in trouble.
Running slicks on even the thinnest water makes the car hydroplane, and even a man with the consummate skills of Ayrton Senna cannot necessarily keep it on the racetrack at all times. But he did keep it off the walls And if he can just keep circulating, he could pick up valuable points. There's Derek Warwick making it through his favorite turn here in Canada, one where he very nearly drove the car into the ocean last year. And you can see the splash set up by the car.
He's catching the McLaren, Bob. Right in front of him is Ayrton Senna from Brazil, current world champion. And we've been watching for the last few laps. Senna is now just dead slow out there.
Let me ask you, John, why does Senna not pit at this point? It is his decision, I take it, whether to put on the rain tires again.
Well, if they go back and forth on the radios, Bob, and Ron Dennis is down here talking to him on every lap. And still, right there, you can see in that picture, parts of this circuit are dry. They rolled the dice, and they're going to keep the dice out there as long as they can. If it turns dry, everyone who is on reins is going to have to come in, and that would put this gentleman from Brazil back in the lead. But Derek Warwick's all over his gearbox. Derek would love to do nothing more than pass the current world champion into second place. There he goes, Derek Warwick down the inside. Senna's not going to let him through. He really should have, because for sure that McLaren has to be slower. Derek Warwick learned from Phoenix not to push it. Sit there and watch it. He went ahead and pushed it down in Phoenix, and it took him out of the race on lap 8, and what could have been a podium for him. Now let's see what Derek Warwick does.
If you wait, sooner or later, Senna will have to stop because it continues to rain here. We'll watch and see if Senna doesn't stop this time. And you use a lot of fuel here. And Senna goes straight off to the pits. So Senna is now in the pits. He'll make a quick right and left-hand turn and then come on into the McLaren pits, and nobody does it better. Let's go to Marty.
Well, guys, you are absolutely right. They were gambling, hoping that the rain would stop again and that they would be out there on slicks when everybody else would come in. Well, the gamble didn't work, and now Ayrton Senna has his work cut out for him again.
Well, let's see if he can do what he did a year ago in Japan when he ran on a dampening track, came from the back of the field past 13 cars, caught his teammate Alain Prost, won the race, and with it clinched his world championship. There is your leader, Riccardo Patrese. Second place, Derek Warwick, as high as we've seen the Arrows team this year. There you see Ayrton Senna now out there on rain tires. As John mentioned, he entered the racetrack in 6th position. He is now up to 5th place, having gotten by Rene Arnoux, which in itself is a Sisyphean task. And he presently runs in 5th behind Patrese, Warwick, Larini, and Caffey. The gap is 27 seconds between Patrese and Warwick. Larini another 15 seconds back. 6 seconds further adrift, you'll find Alex Caffey. Another 6 seconds back to this man, Ayrton Senna, the defending world champion.
We have a pit stop down in the pits. We have one of the Coloni's. It's Alex Caffey and the Dallara in the car.
Both of our in-car cameras are now out of the race. Sandro Nannini is gone, as is Stefano Modena in the Brabham. So we have no in-car to show you at this point, and we apologize for that, because if you've seen it before, you know it's spectacular. There, with a long shot through a big camera lens, you see just how awful it's getting out here. I hate to keep reiterating it, but we're in a nice, cool, dry booth. Unfortunately, Marty's down there at pit road, probably up to his knees in water by now, and it has become a hydroplane festival here in Canada. As Ayrton Senna makes his way out, that is a look at ground level on pit road. Now here's a replay of the incident between Larini and Moreno. Looks like Larini missed a shift or something, and Moreno cruised on past. Nicola Larini with a problem out there.
We have our leader in the pits, down in the Williams pits. We go to Marty Reid.
Well, Riccardo Patrese, race leader, into the pits, and I'm looking at the tires, and you're absolutely right, John. He's got them down very, very thin from running them a little bit too hard when it was semi-dry. But now he's got fresh rubber, and he's back underway.
But he is underway too late. I know Ayrton Senna has gone by, and I assume Derek Warwick has as well, so that pit stop is going to cost Patrese the lead. Sandro Nannini and Riccardo Patrese have been kept off of the top of the rostrum. And what a thing it would be if Derek Warwick, just going out of your picture to your left, there's the interval back to Ayrton Senna. If Warwick can just hold on, he's got a long way yet to go. And behind him, the fastest man under adverse conditions in Formula One, probably the fastest man under any conditions in Formula One, Ayrton Senna.
Senna has certainly gained some closeness to Derek Warwick on that particular maneuver. Derek was held up by Christian Danner, the German driver, in the Real. I'm sure Christian's going to let Senna through, but right now we have Ayrton Senna, the worst man you would ever want on your gearbox ever, is right behind Derek Warwick.
Well, John Andretti would like very much to join Eddie Cheever of the Arrows team as an American in Formula One, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Of course, there's quite a learning curve, no matter how much experience a driver has when it goes into Formula One. It's 16 new circuits, as on the inside, very easily, Derek Warwick actually let Ayrton Senna by. He took the option of remaining alive out there and keeping the car all in one spot and on the track. And now he's in that spray trying to figure out where to go, because I report that Ayrton Senna has no rain light. Ayrton Senna going very wide on that corner, getting off the brakes again. He was pushing very hard on the brakes. When he was catching Warwick, it was under braking into every one of the slower corners. It was on the brakes that Senna went ahead. Here's the replay. You can see Ayrton Senna coming up on the brakes. Warwick looked into his mirror very briefly right there, let him by, no chop whatsoever, almost collected his gearbox, but then on the very next corner, Ayrton Senna went sailing off and over the white line.
The Formula One Submarine Races of Canada coming your way on this Father's Day weekend here on ESPN. We have had an absolute monsoon here as you watch Ayrton Senna in the #1 car, designating the world champion, making his way around Alex Caffey in the Dallara. Down the long front chute they come, along the Olympic rowing basin here, outside of the 1976 Olympic Games. There you see Senna, and as you can see, it is starting to rain heavily once again on the front stretch. It has been on and off cloudbursts all day. For a while, we thought they might stop this race just past the halfway mark. You're watching Ayrton Senna, who has not been beaten in a rain-drenched Grand Prix since 1984. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Well, guys, after the first little incident between Patrese and Boutsen, I went to Frank Williams, owner of the team, and I said, any team orders now? He says, no, still only one. Don't crash.
Don't crash indeed, and they very nearly did that. Your leader is Ayrton Senna. Boutsen has taken over second from teammate Patrese. What drama at the Canadian Grand Prix. You see your leader, Ayrton Senna, having pulled off with apparently a blown engine in that McLaren Honda. Hands on hips. He has come from virtually from the back of the pack after stopping for tires and made his way to the lead, had a comfortable lead of some 20 seconds over this man, Riccardo Patrese, who has since been passed by his teammate Terry Boutsen. And at this point, the order has shuffled once again. What a day for Ayrton Senna, who has had so much trouble this year. As you see, the dejected Ayrton Senna making his way back. He will not score points in this race.
He can't believe it, Bob. He can't believe it. He's got his hand over his face. He says, I fought back twice. I passed everybody. I had virtually lapped 3/4 of the field, and here I am walking home.
That's the first time in over 50 Grands Prix that one of the top 5 drivers, among them Berger, Mansell, Prost, Senna, and Piquet, will not win the Formula One Grand Prix. This race in Canada, here is a replay as the engine, the Honda engine, normally as bulletproof as a mechanism can be in any form of racing, simply let go on the Brazilian world champion.
But you called it, Bob, at the head of the program. You said that they are the best, but they are not invincible.
Alain Prost dropped out after a mere 2 laps in this race with suspension problems, and now Ayrton Senna drops out little more than 2 laps from the finish of the race. After a magnificent driving job through absolute driving rain.
There is a lot of spray coming out of the back of the car, but you could also see a lot of oil smoke on the left-hand side of the engine. Something certainly went bang.